Have you checked the children?
Here we go! This night, you're gonna find that nightmares do come true. We will find you. Treat or treat. This night, you're gonna find that people.
What's up, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror, Year 3. This is Day 11. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. When a Stranger Calls, yes, we are still in slasher territory. When a Stranger Calls was released in 1979 and directed by Fred Walton. Definitely another one that is straight in the slasher territory, kind of. Now, before I get into the synopsis and my thoughts on this film, I will start off by saying that I did hear a lot about this film prior to watching it. Now, I still went in blind, meaning I didn't watch any trailers for it, I didn't read the synopsis or anything like that, but the main gist of what I got from it is that the first act of it basically feels like its own short film, and then the second and third acts as the film progresses just feels like an extended version of that short film. So a lot of people were disappointed in acts 2 and 3 because basically a lot of people were saying that they basically took a shortened idea and just extended it into a feature-length film, which I saw, definitely. And I agree with them, like, straight up. Like, the first act of the film could be its own short film, hands down. And it would make an awesome short film, that's the thing. And it's a really common story, too. One that I've heard already, and I'm sure a lot of people have. Not to go into spoiler territory for anybody who hasn't, but this is a story that has been, retold in many, even TV shows and stuff like that, where a babysitter is babysitting a couple kids, and she receives a strange phone call from, a stranger, basically. And then, there's this big plot reveal where the person on the phone is always like, have you checked the children? And constantly calling over and over and creeping her the hell out. And then at the end of the story, there's this reveal that I won't say here because just in case nobody knows what it is, but I'm sure you all know what it is anyway. But anyway, the second and third parts of this film kind of extend from that, but you can pretty much end this film in like 20 minutes if you just kept that one short story and left out the rest. But anyway, where the film goes basically is, in Acts 2 and 3, I mean, you follow the killer and you get to know more about him. Apparently he's this completely deranged psychopath that left, he escaped from a mental institution in Britain. He's a British guy. And he starts to stalk this other woman named Tracy. And Tracy hangs out at a dive bar. She seems like she's in her 50s. She definitely looks kind of like a divorcee. Just a lonely woman who kind of wants to be left alone, but at the same time wants to find somebody as well. And this guy just, he goes creep 101 on this woman. Like, there's actually a really funny bar scene in this dive bar where this guy is just, he doesn't know how to take no for an answer, but he's just the creepiest dude in the world. It's great. And then this guy, this other patron in the bar, basically tells him to leave the woman alone, and he basically acts like he owns the place, because even with the bartender, he's like, I want this guy out, and he has reason to, obviously, but then he like takes the towel from the barman's like shoulder, and the barman is about to call the cops, and he like takes the phone down, and he's like, who are you calling? I'll deal with this myself. It's like, okay, he must be quite a regular if he's behaving like that. But anyway, he had reason to kick this dude out because he was actually being a creep. But anyway, he starts stalking this Tracy woman, and there's even a point where he follows her home, and she she's getting into her apartment, and he basically just walks in. And I don't know what's with Tracy, but apparently she's really friendly, and she forgave the whole bar situation because he basically got the shit beat out of him, and she started feeling bad until he went full on creep mode at her apartment again, and then she started threatening to call the cops and whatnot. So you find out this guy's name is Kurt Duncan, and as I said, he was is an escapee of a mental institution. And this whole story after this incident with the babysitter, whose name was Jill, happened 7 years after that incident. So he basically escaped from this institution 7 years after the incident in the first act where Jill was babysitting the kids, and he's calling, "Have you checked the children?" and all that. They do explain in really graphic detail what happened to the children. Now, you don't see what happened to the children, but they describe it all. And they describe it very in detail. And I found that really disturbing. Like, they went there with the script. The writers actually went there. And the director actually went there in really getting into vivid detail on what he did to these kids. And it's pretty horrifying, to say the least. This film really feels like the 70s. It was made in 1979, but it straight up feels like the 70s. And the atmosphere of the film really, it would be cool to watch this film in black and white, I find. If you could just like change the color and just have it play out in black and white with the music and the score that they had going, it would be really interesting to watch it that way. But yeah, going back to the third act again, Jill comes back, and then you get kind of like the wraparound of, because he starts tormenting her again. I don't know how he finds her. There's really no logic in how he finds these women or what his motive is really, but he's literally just a deranged maniac. There's scenes where he's talking to himself, and he's clearly got a lot of many mental problems that are very apparent with his character. And he plays them off really well. I like the ending too, the way it wraps up too. It's pretty cool. So, although I agree where this could have just stayed as a short film, I still didn't mind where it went. Yeah, psychological disturbances is what I wrote down for the killer. He clearly had a lot of those. But yeah, there's a huge creep factor to this film, and I like that a lot. They really drive the creep factor in this, and it really got under my skin with the way things played out. Things really got under my skin a lot, and especially with Jill. Like there's a scene in a restaurant where Jill gets the phone call again from the same guy 7 years later, and she's out for dinner with her husband, and it's like, "Have you checked the children?" All of a sudden, and she just breaks down in the most heartbreaking way, and like in public too. Really creepy stuff, and really, it's a really effective film for sure. I did enjoy this one. I thought that I mean, script wise, it was good. It was really enjoyable. Like I liked the way it made me feel, like the way it actually creeps me out. I really liked that. I really liked the acting. I really liked the slasher vibes, and I liked the performances, and I like where the story went. So, and of course the first act, the main horror element to the film, and in the whole first act was perfect. Was exactly what I was expecting it to be. So. On this one, I land on a 55 out of 100. Why out of 100? Because I hate decimals. It delivered on everything that it needs to deliver on. It was great. Obviously, certain things could have been tweaked here and there, but I found it extremely enjoyable. I highly recommend it. I don't know how much rewatch value it will have for a lot of people. It has enough for me. I'll definitely be watching it again. It's a staple for Halloween, and definitely like on a rainy night or something. Very, very creepy and very good film. So yeah, that's my take on it. 55 out of 100. And until next review, I am Morgan Film Fan. Follow Morgan Film Fan on YouTube. And I will be back to chat about more movies later. Till next time, cheers.